The Dingo and the Desert Food Web. My project is called the Dingo and the Desert Food Web. In this presentation, I will be showing you how energy and matter move through living things in an Australian desert ecosystem, starting with plants, moving through herbivores and up to predators. My model focuses on one very important animal, which is the dingo. The dingo is known as a keystone species, which means it plays a crucial role in keeping the entire ecosystem balanced. Through my project, I will show you what happens when the dingo is in the ecosystem and when it is removed, and how it causes big changes to other animals, plants, and even the land itself. This helps us understand how everything in nature is connected, and why protecting native species like the dingo is so important for sustainability. What I learned about living things. In our living things unit, I learned that ecosystems are like a giant web where every plant and animal is connected in some way. Each living thing depends on others for food, shelter, and survival. So when one part of the web changes, it affects everything else. For my project, I decided to focus on what happens when one very important animal, the dingo, is taken away from the ecosystem. The dingo plays a key role in controlling populations of other animals like kangaroos and crickets and helps to keep the natural balance. By studying this, I wanted to understand how removing just one species can create a chain reaction that impacts plants, animals, and the environment as a whole. Here's my food web model. It represents how energy and matter flow through an Australian desert ecosystem. At the bottom of the web, we have the producers, which are the plants, like the spinifex grass. These plants use sunlight to make their own food through photosynthesis, and they provide energy for the rest of the web. Next, we have the herbivores, such as the kangaroos and the crickets, which are also producers in our ecosystem. These herbivores eat plants to get their energy. Then come the predators, like the snakes, the dingoes, and the eagle, which are also known as predators as well. The dingo helps to keep all the other animal populations in balance as they all feed on the smaller animals in their ecosystem. The arrows in my model show the flow of energy and matter from the plants to the herbivores and then to the consumers or the predators. Each arrow shows how energy is passed along as one organism is eaten by another. Before the dingo is removed, the ecosystem is balanced. The dingo keeps animal populations like kangaroos, snakes under control by hunting them. Because of this, there's enough vegetation for herbivores to eat and smaller native species to live and have plenty of food and
Going to
shelter.
talk over it.
As you can see, I had a herbivore meter.
Now
So
hold it.
it's currently on the
Hold it right there.
all of that. So all parts of the food web work together and energy flows smoothly between plants and animals and the
Don't touch me,
consumers.
it's really bad.
Now I've linked it to what will happen when the dingo is removed. When the dingo is removed, the balance is lost.
Thanks.
The kangaroo and rabbit populations grow rapidly because there's no predator keeping the numbers down. They start to overgraze, eating too much of the grass and plants, which causes vegetation levels to drop and the land to dry out. As the plants disappear, as you saw, small native animals lose their food sources and places to hide, so their populations begin to fall. At the same time, other predators, such as snakes and eagles, increase because dingoes are no longer competing with them and they hunt even more small native animals.
I'm going to talk over
Over
it.
time, this leads to biodiversity loss, soil erosion, and an
Now hold it.
ecosystem that struggles to recover.
Hold it right there.
The domino effect. The chain reaction is called a trophic cascade. A trophic cascade happens when removing just one species, like the dingo, causes big changes at every level of the food web. Because the dingo is a top predator, it plays a really important role in keeping the whole ecosystem healthy and balanced. When the dingo is gone, the effects cascade down the food chain. Herbivores eat more plants, vegetation decreases, small animals lose homes, and the land becomes dry and damaged. It shows how every living thing is connected and how one change can affect the flow of an energy and matter through the entire ecosystem. Indigenous Australian perspectives. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people have cared for country for tens of thousands of years. Their deep understanding of the land, animals, and seasons has helped keep ecosystems alive, healthy, and sustainable. Through practices like fire stick farming, shown in this picture, they carefully burn small areas of vegetation in a controlled way. This process encourages new plant growth, attracts animals back to the area, and prevents large, dangerous bushfires, which have been known to wipe out land and species. It helps balance populations as well, just like the dingo does in the desert food web. These traditional practices show how Aboriginal peoples have always worked with the environment, not against it. They understand that when one part of the ecosystem changes, it affects everything else: plants, animals, and people. Today, scientists are learning from this knowledge to create more sustainable ways to care for Australia's unique ecosystems. This connection between traditional knowledge and modern science shows the importance of respecting and learning from Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples' sustainable land management practices. Together, they remind us that caring for country helps keep ecosystems balanced and protects the flow of energy and matter in nature. I followed a design process to plan, build, and improve my model. First, I researched how a desert food web works and decided to focus on the role of the dingo. Then I designed my model so that it could move and show what happens when the dingo is removed from the ecosystem. I used strings to make the animals move. When I pull the string, the dingo moves away, and that sets off a chain reaction in the food web. Kangaroos and crickets move closer to the plants to show overgrazing. The grass also went with the dingo. That shows the decreasing of plants in our ecosystem. And the plants start to drop down. This represents the loss of vegetation. This moving feature helps show how energy and matter in the ecosystem can quickly become unbalanced when one species is gone. After testing this, I made a few changes so the parts would move more smoothly and clearly to show the cause and effect relationships. My final model shows how design and science can work together to explain real world environmental issues in a creative way. From this project, I learned that the dingo is a keystone species in Australia. That means it plays a crucial role in keeping the whole ecosystem balanced. When the dingo is present, plant and animal populations stay healthy and the environment remains stable. But when it's removed, the balance is lost, showing how connected everything in nature is. I also learned that science helps us understand these connections through evidence and observation. By studying food webs, energy flow, and the effects of change, we can make better, more sustainable choices for the future. This links to how Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people have cared for country for thousands of years, showing that combining traditional and scientific knowledge can protect our ecosystem. My project shows that when the dingo disappears, everything in the ecosystem begins to change. Without the dingo to keep balance, herbivore numbers like kangaroos and crickets increase, leading to overgrazing and a big loss of vegetation. As the plants disappear, smaller native animals lose their food and shelter, and the land becomes dry and unhealthy. It shows how important dingoes are as top predators, that they control animal populations and protect the environment. Australia's natural balance and support the survival of our beautiful native animals. It reminds us that every species matters and that taking care of one of them helps take care of all of them. Thank you for watching.